Ladies and gentlemen, the council meeting, we just finished an executive session and members of council will be over in a moment.
Hello.
Hi, Mr. Francis. We're just waiting on a few more counselors to be able to log on.
Okay, I thought I was the last one. Thank you.
Mr. Gibbs, do we have everyone?
Councilor Johnson is just checking in.
Thank you, Councilor Johnson.
There's a quorum of council present.
All right, we'll call this meeting to order. Would you like to start with your disclaimer before I move ahead?
Yes, ma'am. This is a meeting is being held via Zoom pursuant to the emergency declaration issued by the governor and the Pennsylvania Department of Health, which limits the number of people who can gather in a certain space. As such, this meeting is being recorded. Your participation and attendance at this meeting is your consent to be recorded. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. I'd like to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Mayor, can you please lead us?
Certainly. Let's pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to proceed with roll call, Madam Secretary, beginning with our esteemed mayor.
Mayor Hopkins.
Present.
President Monroe.
Present.
Vice President Francis.
Present.
Counselor Johnson. Counselor Johnson, are you still there?
Yes, present. Can you hear me?
Yes. Counselor McCabe,
Present.
Counselor Jones Waters,
Present.
Counselor Rowe,
Here.
Solicitor Gibbs. He's here. Ms. James,
Present.
Ms. Malvina,
Here.
Mr. Nichols,
Present.
and Counselor Cave said he was unable to attend tonight, and that concludes roll call.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Our next order of business is our citizens forum. Mr. Gibbs, if you can explain how we'll conduct citizens forum.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, if you wish to conduct citizens forum or participate with public comment, please raise your hand or indicate so in the chat box, and Ms. Stevens will recognize you.
Are there any citizens wishing to speak for citizens forum?
Dr. Robinson, ma'am.
All right.
Ms. Robertson, if you can state your name and your address, please.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Stephanie Robbins. I live at 537 Cypress Street, Yeadon, 19050.
You can proceed with your comment, ma'am.
Okay, this is my my second meeting, so I'm not sure what to say at this time. I came on to be an observant and to hear what is going on in my community.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome, sir.
There
There are no other hands raised, ma'am.
All right. Thank you. We will move on to our minutes. So up for consideration are the May 2013, I'm sorry, May 13, 2021 caucus meeting minutes. Is there a motion?
So moved, Madam President.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, having been moved and properly seconded on the question. Hearing none, I'll conduct a roll call vote based on the order that councilors appear on my screen. Councilor Francis,
Yes.
Councilor Dr. McCabe,
Yes.
Councilor Jones Waters,
Yes.
Councilor Johnson,
Yes.
Councilor Rowe.
Yes.
So yes, for me, the motion carries. Next up is the May 20th, 2021 legislative meeting minutes. Is there a motion?
So moved. So moved, Madam President.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Having been moved and properly seconded on the question. Hearing none, I'll conduct a roll call vote based on the order that councilors appear on my screen. Councilor Francis,
Yes.
Councilor Dr. McCabe,
Yes.
Councilor
Yes.
All right, Councilor Johnson,
Yes.
Councilor Rowe.
Yes.
So yes from me, the motion carries. Next, we will move on to our mayor's report.
Thank you, Madam President. My report stands as submitted. I do have a few items I'd like to highlight. First of which is the speed of which the Juneteenth holiday has come. And even since I wrote the report, I'm happy to report that when I wrote the report earlier today, the Senate had already passed the legislation to make it a national holiday, waiting on the House of Representatives. They've since passed it, and the president has signed it this afternoon. So Juneteenth and June 19th will be a national holiday recognizing the official end of slavery. At the borough, it's already a borough holiday. The state of New Jersey, state of Pennsylvania, and a couple of other states had passed that legislation. The borough will honor that tomorrow, June 18th, as our holiday in the borough, and the borough will be closed to honor Juneteenth. But the official holiday is the 19th, and the Nile has an acknowledgement celebration on Saturday for Juneteenth. But it's a great thing. This is the first national holiday that's been passed since Martin Luther King birthday almost 40 years ago. Flag Day this year was the in-person Flag Day was canceled due to COVID. We do have acknowledgement online where there's some video recordings and also that of Dr. Kerr, the son of the founder of Flag Day, William T. Kerr, as well as the Recreation Committee and pictures and I believe Councilor Francis will have more to say in his report. Yesterday, there's a major mail fraud crime solved in Yeadon, and kudos to the Yeadon Police Department. And basically what that was there were a group of individuals that stole mailbox keys from mailbox carriers, and they were taking mail out and sifting it for cash and checks, and kind of doctoring the checks and the signatures to write themselves checks. And so far we've recovered well over $100,000, and it's going to be a lot more once all those checks are reconciled. I believe the chief will have a lot more to say about that, but it was front page news in the Times, and most of the networks carried it yesterday. But again, kudos to the police department. The victims were not just Yeadonites, but they're all over this area, Philadelphia, and all over. I know my neighbor was one of them, one of my neighbors. But great police work in solving that crime and putting a stop to this. The Nile Swim Club celebrated its historical marker on May 22nd, where due to various efforts in the borough, we lobbied the state to recognize the Nile as a historical landmark, and that came to fruition at that ceremony on May 22nd. That's 2,600 or so historical landmarks in the Commonwealth. So kudos to the Nile for that distinction. The Sunday, June 20th, marks it's Father's Day and the official start of summer. So I just want to wish all the fathers a happy Father's Day. There ends my report, Madam President. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Next, we will move on to our President's report. We will start with some great news. We have been awarded our 2021 CDBG grant. That grant is $200 and $200,000 and will be used for repairs to our sanitary sewer system on Cypress Street. Another award that we received was from our Senator Anthony Williams. Our police chief requested additional assistance for the portable camera that was used to curtail some of the accidents on Church Lane, as well as the activity in the Yeadon Community Park. we reached out to the senator's office for that support in order to be able to, so we'll be able to build this into our budget. Right now, we have one on loan from the county, but we wanted to have some time to be able to build it into our budget. And the senator was gracious enough to commit $45,000, and that will cover 3 years of servicing. So we would be able to keep it longer.
Bravo.
Additionally, we do have a vacancy on our Civil Service Commission. And we have 2 candidates who are up for consideration. So we have Carl Graham and Stephanie Robinson. I'll just go in alphabetical order for consideration. The counselors have received their packets with information about each candidate. So do we have a consideration for appointing Carl Graham to the Civil Service Commission?
So moved, Madam President.
Second.
Having been moved and properly seconded, I'm going to defer briefly to our solicitor for guidance, since we don't do appointments very often in a public forum, and make sure that it's appropriate for us to ask for commentary.
It is,
Mr.
ma'am.
Gibbs? Okay, so on the question,
It is appropriate. People, if someone has commentary, they can have commentary on this issue.
all right, thank you. So having been moved and properly seconded on the question,
Yes, I have questions.
Councilor Rowe Cloud.
So with respect to appointing individuals to the different boards and commissions that the borough has, what systems do we have in place to vet and/or verify references before appointing individuals?
So anyone in the position is posted on our website, and applicants' information is shared with all of council. Council then is allowed to discuss it in this forum, where we take a vote on who it is that we would want to fill these voluntary roles in our community.
Yeah, my main concern is with respect to exposing the borough to any type of liability as the result of anyone's actions that we appoint to the board. Specifically, I do know firsthand that there were some concerns that was publicly displayed with respect to racism in our police department. And if a candidate is interested in being appointed to the Civil Service Commission and they feel that there is racism within the very police department that they are going to support, how does that look for us?
I actually think that fares very well for us. If we have someone who's able to look at our police officers with the critical eye, which is absolutely necessary in the community, then, you know, we don't want to appoint anyone who's just a yes man or a yes woman. We want people who are going to challenge the norms and to encourage our police officers to be at their best. I would say that our chief does a good job with his community service, and that in working with our officers, maybe those myths would be dispelled. I personally haven't heard anything of this sort and consider both of the candidates qualified applicants. But again, this is the forum where we have those discussions. I'm sorry, I think I heard Councilor Francis.
Yes, Madam President. Good evening, everybody.
Yes.
I think we all support the chief 120%. We know how important he is to our community and to us. As far as something being stated about one of the candidates, I haven't heard anything, and you know, it's bad when you have candidates, but I haven't had anything substantial to show me that certain person had said anything. And I believe if somebody is, and if somebody says they've said something, let them defend themselves. I haven't heard anything about that. And also the last thing is, if the chief had heard anything, he's the one that will have to work with them if he's comfortable with that, or has he heard anything?
Well, I will say it's not about hearsay. It's about a conversation that I personally had with the individual on May 18th. And it was in front of a group of people. Now, I'm not saying that this individual cannot have an opinion of what he feels about the police department. However, I feel that anyone who is going to be involved with the police department or any other department for that matter should go in with an open mind, not bias, but an open
Yeah.
mind.
So that's why in this forum, we are able to accept or reject. So at this point, we will call for the vote. I will ask for a roll call vote in the order that counselors appear on my screen.
Madam President, I want to let you know that Mr. Graham has raised his hand. I don't know if that's appropriate, but I want to let you know that he did raise his hand.
Okay, so shall we
We-
continue
Yeah,
with shall we continue with the vote, and then at the culmination, if there's something that, I don't know that, that it is appropriate, we've already passed our citizens forum. So let's start with the vote, and then we'll see where we go from here. We will start with Counselor Francis,
Yes.
Counselor Dr. McCabe,
Yes.
Counselor Jones Waters,
No.
Counselor Johnson,
Yes.
Counselor Roadcloud.
No.
That's a yes from me. I believe the motion carries. Is that correct?
That's correct, ma'am. The motion carries.
All right, I'm sorry, I lost count. So
I need to
motion
ask a
carries.
question.
So 1 second, Counselor Jones Waters. We want to allow Mr. Graham, welcome him to our Civil Service Commission, and allow him a moment to, since his hand was raised, and then I'll come to you, Counselor Jones Waters. So can you please let Mr. Graham into the room since his hand was raised?
So my question is.
Wait, Counselor Jones Waters, I have Mr. Graham had his hand raised, and we're inviting him to speak, and I'll call for you next. Mr. Graham, are you there? Mr. Graham, are you able to unmute yourself? Yes, we can hear you now. Thank you. Well, welcome to this side of our council meeting, and thank you for volunteering to serve the community in the capacity of a civil service commissioner. We thank you for the role that you've played in the community thus far. I did see that your hand was raised. Is there something that you would like to say as we welcome you into our Civil Service Commission?
I would say it's an honor to be welcome. To be a part of the Civil Service Commission, and I look forward to doing nothing but positive things. And I don't want to address the he say or the she say, because I don't think I formally met Ms. Roadcloud ever personally and face to face. So I don't know. I don't want to address anything like that. But I just want to say thank you, and I look forward to handling doing what requires for Yeadon to push Yeadon forward, as this is another step, another part of the process to continue to push Yeadon for progress.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Green. I also want to thank Ms. Robinson. I'm sorry, I think she may have been Dr. Robinson, if it's the same Robinson that that came on for Citizens Forum. Thank you, Dr. Robinson, for volunteering to be a part of the community. And in the future, should we have a vacancy on our Civil Service Commission, we would encourage you to apply. So thank you, Mr. Graham. And I will move on to Councilor Jones Waters. I believe you had an inquiry.
Correct. So that inquiry was on the basis of the other candidate and how we actually did the voting. I just wanted to be clear that it was two candidates for the position and not just the one.
Yes, I did make that announcement at the beginning, and we decided to go in alphabetical order by last name, since there were two candidates. And then we did just address Ms. Dr. Robinson and thank her for volunteering, and hope that in a future capacity, maybe she would be able to serve on a committee within our borough, or should another vacancy come available. And our Civil Service Commission, to please, I'm encouraging her to apply to that as well. All right. With that being said, we will move on to our manager's report.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The items handled within the past month are as follows. Give me 1 second. Okay. As President Monroe mentioned, we received that $200,000 for the CDBG. The code department received a health inspection refresher from the Department of Agriculture on May 3rd. Mr. Stokes and Mr. White also attended zoning training on May 11th. The department head meeting was held on May 27th. Borough Management's monthly meeting with NDI was held on June 3rd. Updates on various issues and projects were discussed and will be addressed during the engineer's report. Management also had a meeting with the solicitor yesterday. Management, NDI, and Lynn Architects met with members of the library board and staff on June 9th to discuss items for the Keystone Library Grant, which is due in October. The library would like HEPA filters and sneeze guards, which would have been included in the Keystone Grant application. However, the library would like to purchase these items now. Unfortunately, this was not accounted for in the borough's budget, but the library's allocation from the borough, which is sent quarterly, can be used to cover these expenses. NDI and Lynn Architects will provide the library with estimates on these items. The virtual Flag Day event was held on June 14th, as the mayor mentioned earlier. Delaware County and the borough held a pop-up vaccine clinic yesterday, which was held in the municipal parking lot. The mayor held the annual employee appreciation day today. The employees seemed happy. The county health department is set to launch in January of 2022, at which time it will assume responsibility for conducting the inspections outlined in Act 315 of the PA Local Health Administration Law. The county plans on meeting with the borough this summer to discuss the borough's inspection program and to ensure the smoothest transition possible, which we just scheduled earlier today for July 8th. Please be reminded that the borough will be closed tomorrow, as the mayor mentioned, in observance of Juneteenth. Also, there will not be any caucus meetings in July and August. The items in progress. Urban Roots Farm is a farm that is part of a community-sponsored agriculture, or known as a CSA, at Camp Garrett. CSA is a direct marketing partnership between farmers and committed network of community supporters or consumers who help to provide a portion of a given farm's operating budget by purchasing shares of the season's harvest. Jack Goldenberg runs the farm and would like to donate vegetables from the farm for free to Yeadon residents for 25 weeks and possibly more to others if the supply permits doing so. This is an effort being done in conjunction with the Recreation Department, and anyone looking for more information should contact Mr. Hunter at extension 149 or at recreation@yeadonborough.com. Monthly meetings are being held with the National Fitness Campaign leading up to the ribbon cutting, which is likely to be sometime in September. In the meantime, we are following up with and receiving inquiries from businesses looking to sponsor the project, be it financially or through offering their services and expertise. Mayor Hepkins and management sent sponsorship letters. The First Lady and Vice President Francis were instrumental in following up with the potential sponsors. In addition to the $30,000 from NSC, so far the borough received $2,500 from our insurance carrier, Arthur J. Gallagher, $500 from Parkview Pizza, and Senior Community Services is giving $100. Management is working with NDI to apply for the giant company grant called Keeping Pennsylvania Beautiful. The borough will be applying for 2 separate projects under this grant. One is for the rain garden that will be located at the municipal parking lot, and the other is for the projects at the Yeadon Community Park. The borough is in the process of updating services and procedures such as the phone system and the payroll and timekeeping system. Both should be upgraded by July. The newsletter is in the editing phase and should be out by the end of the month. Items to be addressed, which has already occurred, one of them, which was the appointment of the Civil Service Commission. The library board on the report given to council was a mistake. That appointment and vacancy is to be done by the library. Council determined that shade tree removal should occur annually. As there are trees to be considered for removal on tonight's agenda, please be reminded that there is a shade tree fund collected so the borough's budget is not affected when having to address these matters, which are the responsibility of the homeowner under the ordinance. When the homeowner pays the borough for any costs incurred by the borough related to the removal, the payment is added back into whichever account from which it was paid. Management had a conference call with the Holy Cross Cemetery on June 8th regarding their services and creating more of a relationship with the borough and the community. It was agreed that communication is key. In that spirit, the Holy Cross Cemetery would like the community to know that it is open for Father's Day on Sunday, June 20th. They will have staff on site to help families visiting loved ones. Also, Holy Cross is offering first responders, the police, fire, and EMT, and their families and on all pre-arrangements in appreciation of their service to the community. The discount is available through June 30th. Anyone who needs assistance with anything related to Holy Cross Cemetery is encouraged to call their manager, Jonathan Marine, at 610-626-2206. The borough is always accepting applications and posts certain job opportunities when they are available. Currently, Camp Garrett is filling multiple positions such as counselors, lifeguards, and garden and kitchen assistants. Also, the borough is looking to fill the position of clerk. Please visit the borough website for a complete list of all positions and additional details. And that concludes the manager's report.
Thank you, Madam Secretary.
I have a
I'm sorry,
question.
Borough Manager in this role.
I have a
Counselor,
question.
okay, Counselor Roquel, 1 second, please. I'll acknowledge you in 1 second. I do have a comment from Dr. Robinson. The comment says, "Thank you, Council Monroe. I'm appreciative for allowing me the honor to submit my applications. Congratulations to Mr. Graham. May you serve the community with integrity, dignity, and pride. Much success." I just wanted to make that announcement. Counselor Roquel.
With respect to the National Fitness Campaign, the Borough Management Report reflected that we received a $30,000 grant, and to date, we received $3,100 in donations to go towards the $180,000 that we still have to pay.
Correct.
So when are we going to be ongoing requesting the donations, or are we going to stop at some point?
Madam President, Councilor Roquel, I'm following up with the original letters to corporate. They're working, as Miranda, she's working with local. I had a conversation with her today. I will follow up with Mercy Fit. I think they said they're speaking with Giant. We're reaching out to major corporations. We're not going to stop. But this is money that we need to get in here, and this is urgent that we get this fitness equipment for our youth. So no, to your question, no, we're not going to stop. We're going to continue till we get as much money as possible.
Okay. The second question with respect to the report.
1 second, Councilor Roquel, if I could just interject for that. There's also a significant amount of overage from our recreation budget from COVID not being able to host programs and things like that. So there is still some funds left in the budget, but again, we won't stop until we get as much as we can for the borough. Your next point?
Well, with respect to the overages of the funds from the recreational department, aren't we going to have some sort of recreation for the borough in the meantime? We're not just going to use all of the funds to go towards the National Fitness project, are we?
I'm sure Mr. Francis can address that in his report, but that wasn't a part of the manager's report.
No, you said it. You said there was some overages in the recreational budget.
Yes, from not being able to do any recreational activities for 2020 and going forward. So I'm sure that all of the money isn't going to be allotted. We are going to continue to try to raise funds.
Okay. My second question with respect to the shade trees, the manager's report reflected something about there's a shade tree fund, and if the borough has to remove the tree or something to that effect, the fund will be replenished because it's the homeowner's responsibility. I was just a little confused with that part because the shade tree fund is funded by the residents, correct?
Correct.
So if a tree has to be removed, you're not saying the residents are going to be billed again. It's just going to be the ongoing collection of the surcharge.
So per the ordinance, homeowners are responsible for the cost of removing the trees and for repairing the pavement. And the shade tree fund, my understanding is, because that was before I came on, was enacted to help the borough not have to use money that wasn't budgeted for when they removed the trees, because normally the trees are removed in the event of an emergency or because there's a issue involved. So the shade tree fund was created so that the borough didn't have to come out the borough budget to deal with those emergency situations. So the $5 that the residents pay each year is used to help the borough not have to come out the general fund or other funds. So wherever the borough takes that expense to cover the cost of removing the trees, if and when the residents pay for the removal or whatever services the borough pays on their behalf, then it goes back into whichever account the borough had to take it out of to upfront that cost.
I'm confused. I'm sorry. So I'm confused. Maybe the solicitor can help me with this, because we're already surcharging the residents $5 to go into this fund. So if they're already paying the $5 to go into this fund, if a tree is in need of removal, the borough goes into the fund and use those funds, and you're not going to use all the funds, but they use those funds to remove the tree. So are you now saying that in addition to the residents being surcharged the $5, if a tree has to be removed, they're also going to be billed again for the removal? They're going to get that bill?
The legislature, that's how the ordinances are drafted. Yes, ma'am.
That's how the current ordinance is drafted?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm not aware of that. And I would appreciate if maybe offline we can go through it together, because that doesn't seem right.
I'll be happy to. The current ordinances lay out a shade tree commission, and they also lay out that the person who has a tree removed pays for repair.
Right, repair of the concrete. But the manager's report and Miranda just stated that they would have to pay for the removal of that tree.
I will be happy. It's the tree removal and repair is what the ordinance states.
We're going to speak about this offline, please.
I will be happy to, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right.
And my last question, I don't know if this, maybe the manager can. We had a discussion with respect to the common driveways, whether or not we would be able to utilize some of the COVID relief funds that came in or is on their way in. If we could utilize some of those funds to help assist the residents with starting to repair these common driveways. It's been a couple of months, and I'm not sure if anyone heard anything back with respect to whether or not we would be allowed to utilize those funds, some of those funds.
I can actually answer that question, because I haven't looked from the last time you asked. They still have not promulgated regulations about what infrastructure is. So one of the things that the recovery money is allowed for is infrastructure improvements, but the government has not promulgated a regulation to define what that means.
Okay. All right.
And Mr. Gibbs, Councilor, I do want to make a point of clarity. The money has not been dispersed to the borough yet.
And it won't be dispersed until the regulations come out.
Well, no, we submitted the application through DCED. The funds will be here within the next 15 days. I just submitted that, and I did get a confirmation that we will receive it within, the next 15 days. But the regulations are key. We need to make sure that we have a clear, concise plan based off of the regulations, because the reporting is very, very, very strenuous. And until we master the regulations, I think we not even touch the money. It is going into a separate bank account and will be tracked differently. To Mr. Gibbs' point, infrastructure is very, very broad. However, there is another caveat in there that states that we can award homeowners whose primary residence, that is their primary residence, that we can offer some assistance for them to fix the exterior of their homes. So we need to talk offline, I think, as a mayor, council, solicitor, to come up with exactly what we want to do with those CARES Act dollars.
Thank you.
All right, so we will move on to our solicitor's report. Mr.
Good
Gibbs.
evening, everyone, and happy Juneteenth. Council met this evening in executive session to discuss litigation, to discuss personnel, and litigation and personnel. and also to receive legal advice. Based upon our executive session, I would ask first for a motion to authorize settlement relative to EDPA case number 19-CV-01393, and the settlement amount would be our deductible required by the insurance company.
So moved.
So, second, Madam President.
Thank you. Having been moved and properly seconded, I'll conduct a roll call vote in the order that councilors appear on my screen. Councilor Francis,
Yes.
Councilor Dr. McCabe,
Yes.
Councilor Jones Waters, Councilor Johnson,
Yes.
Councilor Jones Waters, I saw you go off mute. I didn't hear your vote.
Yes.
Councilor Road Cloud.
No.
So yes from me, the motion carries.
Thank you. Next is I'm going to ask council to authorize the drafting of an ordinance related to large-scale permit fees. I have drafted the ordinance. So one of the things that the law does not allow us to do is to charge a permit fee and make a profit from such. We all know that we have McNamee Court, and the borough management is working to get other large-scale projects. And right now, in order to change our fee schedule, it has to be by ordinance. What I'm asking council to do is to do a simple 1-paragraph, 2-paragraph ordinance that allows for a fee permit schedule by resolution. I'm going to ask for a special meeting of council within 10 days so we can vote on it.
So moved, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilor Francis. Is there a second?
Second.
Having been moved and properly seconded, I'll proceed with the roll call vote in the order that councilors appear on my screen. Councilor Francis,
Yes.
Councilor Dr. McCabe,
Yes.
Councilor Jones Waters, Councilor Jones Waters, Councilor Jones Waters, Councilor Johnson,
Yes.
Councilor Road Cloud.
Yes.
So yes from me, the motion carries.
Next is I'll ask for a motion to authorize resolution number.
Can we mute the baby?
I'll ask for a resolution, a motion approving resolution 2021-009, which will be a resolution authorizing us to hold in escrow permit fees on behalf of McNamee Court pending council's approval of the ordinance next week.
Is there a
So
motion?
moved.
Thank you. Is there a
Second.
second?
And
All right.
the reason for this is that they're trying to go to closing, so we need to be able to issue a building permit. We would hold our fees in escrow, and I assume council will approve a resolution in 10 days or 12 days.
All right. Moved and seconded. I have Councilor Francis,
Yes.
Councilor Dr. McCabe.
Yes.
It looks like Councilor Jones Waters dropped off the call. Councilor Johnson,
Yes.
Councilor Road Cloud.
Yes.
So yes from me, the vote is unanimous, the motion carries. Can someone see about getting, or could just pay attention to the panelist to make sure that Councilor Jones Waters, if she tries to come back on. Thank you.
Ma'am. I would ask for a motion authorizing a payment in lieu of taxes on behalf of Holy Cross Cemetery in the amount of $650 annually.
So moved.
Second.
Having been moved and seconded, I'll call for a roll call vote in the order that councilors appear on my screen.
I'm sorry, before you call for that vote, that was not the number mentioned earlier.
Was.
I do believe I heard 700, or was that some, were you referencing another town?
That was the county.
Okay. So that was the county number then?
Yeah.
So our number is 650.
7,000, we're 650, and they're 300, and the county is 350.
Okay. So
But I
who's
said-
700? The school district?
the school district 7,000.
7,000, got it.
650 annually, and they're 350. If I said 700, that was a mistake on my part, but it's 650. I'm looking at the document here.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Counselor Francis,
Yes.
Counselor Dr. McCabe,
Yes.
Counselor Johnson,
Yes.
Counselor Roadcloud.
Yes.
So yes from me, the vote is unanimous, the motion carries. Okay, so it's understood that Counselor Jones Waters had to leave for personal reasons.
Very well. Finally, I would ask for a motion to authorize a settlement with the Fraternal Order of Police as it relates to 2019-01 grievance, given the fact, I've discussed this in executive session, I do not want to put on the floor or on the record what this settlement authority is, because we could, in essence, be negotiating against ourselves. But I have discussed it in council, and once it is settled, we will report the exact number.
Okay. So moved, Madam President.
Second.
Having been moved and seconded, I'll proceed with the roll call vote in the order that counselors appear on my screen. Counselor Francis,
Yes.
Counselor Dr. McCabe,
Yes.
Counselor Johnson,
Yes.
Counselor Roadcloud,
Yes, and I see Counselor Waters in the attendees.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Let me just let her in.
All right, well, it's a yes from me. The motion carries.
1 second. Councilor Jones Waters. You have to accept. I'm promoting you. I've hit promote to panelists, members of council. Just waiting for Councilor Jones Waters to accept it.
All right. Are there any other motions for you?
No, ma'am. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. We're moving on to our tax collectors report.
Madam
Ms.
President,
James.
I have to say Happy Father's Day.
Oh, hey.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Ms. James.
The tax collectors report for the month of May. For Borough Real Estate, we collected $108,432.70. For Borough Trash, we collected $17,420. For Borough Sewer, we collected $41,828.65, a total of $167,291.31. I have new glasses that I can hardly see through. You think I should get a new doctor? I think it says $167,381.38. That is the total for the month of May. Thank you, Madam President. And happy Father's Day.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. James, for your report. All right, we will move on to our reports and motions from our engineer.
Good evening.
Good evening, Ms. Mulvaney.
So the first motion is to extend the trash collection contract with B&L. So it's item 4.1 in the amount of, oh my goodness, I can't see now, $315,975. And that's for the collection of trash for the period of June 1st of 2021 to May 31st, 2022.
That is the accurate price, right?
$315,975.
Okay. So moved, Madam President.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, having been moved and properly seconded on the
I do have a
question.
question. Yes, thank you. Did the price raise or rise from last year, or is it the same? Is there a difference in price?
I believe there is. I can look for the copy of the contract while we're on, but it's the option year. So there was a 3-year contract. Each year the price increased, and then this is the 4th year with an additional increase. And then the 5th year, if you accept next year, you would see an increase in that too. But I'll look for that while someone else is doing a report.
Okay, but this is also these are the amounts that were in the original contract.
Yeah, they are.
Okay.
I have a question.
Councilor Road Cloud?
Any change in services?
No.
Thank you.
All right, I'll proceed with the roll call vote in the order that councilors appear on my screen. Councilor Francis?
Yes.
Councilor Dr. McCabe?
Yes.
Did Councilor Jones Waters make it back in? I don't see, okay, Councilor Johnson?
Yes.
Councilor Road Cloud?
Yes.
So yes from me, the vote is unanimous, the motion carries.
The second one is related. It's a contract extension for the collection of recyclables. So this is item 9.1 of that same contract, and it's in the amount of $140,160, and it would be for the same time period.
So moved, Madam President.
Second.
Thank you. Having been moved and properly seconded on the question.
I have a question.
Councilor Road Cloud.
I guess this would be more for the manager. With respect to the recyclables, I do know that we get a credit. The more we recycle, we get some sort of financial incentive for same. So I'm just wondering whether or not people are recycling so that we can take advantage of that incentive.
Yes, people are recycling on Wednesdays.
Yeah, I know, but if we're getting a check, are our checks increasing as a result of people actually recycling, or are our incentives decreasing because people aren't recycling as much?
Per the contract, the amount from the recyclables goes to B&L.
I think she's asking about the state, the DEP grant, the 90, I can't remember if it's 902 or 904. And you get credit for recycling anyone in the borough, even businesses that are in the borough. You get credit for their recycling, and the state issues a check each year for that.
Yeah, and Counselor, that check has remained pretty consistent since I'll say the last three years.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I've actually seen it on the AP list. I think it was the AP list for recycling that came in. A couple of months ago, I think I saw something on there.
All right, thank you. We will continue with the roll call vote in the order that councilors appear on my screen. Councilor Francis?
Yes.
Councilor Dr. McCabe?
Yes.
Councilor Johnson?
Yes.
Councilor Road Cloud?
Yes.
So yes from me, the vote is unanimous, the motion carries.
Okay, I did have a chance to look that up, and I'll try to explain this easily, but we obtained pricing for year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, and year 5. So we're looking at the year 4. In year 3, their price was $303,822, and this year it's $315,975. When you look at the next closest bidder to them for last year, the next closest bidder had bid $338,500, and their 4th year price was $345,600. So their 4th year price is less expensive than the second low bidder's 3rd year price. So I think I think it's a good deal for you guys.
Thanks, Eileen. Does that end your report?
Was it my report, or does that end my report?
Yes.
I'll just give you a slight update on a general update on your infrastructure. So we've had some pretty significant rain events. After each one, I've been getting text from Jeff telling me about additional locations where we have problems, both in sanitary and storm sewer. So I've been reaching out to Nafis, who's looking into what options we may have. We've done a lot of work already this year. So I'll contact both Miranda and Nafis again. We'll see if there's anything more we can do this year. But of course, if it gets safety related or a sewer backup, we would have to make, immediate repairs. But just to let you know that there are a lot of issues arising as we get these serious rain events. And we'll just keep asking you for authorization to do repairs as they come up and funding's available.
Thank you. Do you have a stormwater management tip for
I
us?
Actually, the light's off in here. I'm gonna turn it on. Might help.
Yeah, that helps.
It definitely helps. Let's see. Okay, set your sprinklers to minimize runoff. Using frequent short cycles gives the water a chance to soak into the soil. Make sure your sprinkler heads are adjusted to reduce overspray and water the minimum necessary for the plant. That's it.
All right.
I have a question for Eileen.
I'm sorry, I think Counselor Johnson's asking to be recognized, and then I'll move on to you, Counselor Rowe-Cloud.
Thank you. Eileen, some years back, you gave a good tip on getting rid of the weeds, like on the curbside, and had to do with something with vinegar. Was it just straight vinegar added with something? But I know it was environmentally safe. Do you remember?
Yes, it's straight vinegar.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Counselor Rowe-Cloud.
Quick question, Eileen. With respect to the gutters going directly into the ground, I know that at one point we were told that we weren't allowed to have that, the gutters going directly into the ground anymore because of the storm sewer or something like that. And it was just brought up recently that if the borough was getting charged, if there was like some sort of, if the water was getting into that storm sewer as a result of that, the borough would get charged based upon the value.
Okay, so yes, it's true, but it's sanitary sewer. So if you have downspouts connected to the sanitary sewer, which was approved back when these homes were built, but it's no longer approved. When a rain event or any significant inflow into the borough's sanitary sewer occurs, our flow is metered. And when the storm is evaluated, when the treatment cost in Philadelphia is evaluated, they distribute the cost of treatment to the various communities that are connected based on the amount of flow that they contribute. So if you have an extremely leaky system or a system that has a lot of excess rainwater in it, you compared to every other town, and we have a rain event and Philadelphia's charges based on flow, then that municipality will pay more. They'll just pay more of the total bill than someone else may. So you'll see an additional increase because of that extra flow. So I believe what the code department is doing is that anytime there's a permit issued or a certificate of occupancy or a rental inspection each year, I believe that if they have underground downspouts, that they are testing them and making sure that they're if they're not connected to the sanitary sewer, and if they are, they're requiring them to be disconnected and discharged to the grass. And you do want them discharged to the grass. You don't want them to discharge onto a driveway, because you're just now putting the roof sediment onto the driveway, which then ends up in the street and ends up in the storm sewer, and then we have that issue. So we definitely want to encourage it to go on to grass or in plant beds or something like that.
So you are monitoring our volume with respect to rainwater getting into the
So we do review the meter reports each year, but it's in millions of gallons, so it would be almost impossible for me to tell whether or not you're making headway, because it takes an awful lot of changes to show up when you're getting millions of gallons in data. The code department, on the other hand, would be the people tracking it to see how many units per year they're disconnecting.
Okay, thanks.
Mhm.
All right. I received a correspondence from our borough manager that you needed to add something to your report, so.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I forgot to mention, thanks to the chief, I was reminded that there was an application submitted for a block party to be held on July 3rd on the 500 block of Arbor Road. However, the resident did not meet the requirements because she did not have enough signatures. That's why that item didn't make it to the agenda. And Chief, if you'd like to add anything or wait until your report, that's the end of my update.
All right, thank you. We will move on to our finance report. Mr. Counselor Cave is not with us this evening, so I will ask on his behalf for the consideration of the accounts payables list.
So moved. Second, Madam President.
Having been moved and properly seconded on the question. Hearing none, I'll proceed
Yes,
with
can you
the,
repeat that, please? I'm sorry.
we are asking for consideration of the accounts payables list.
Oh, okay,
It's
thanks.
been moved and properly seconded. And without any question, I will proceed with the roll call vote. Counselor Francis,
Yes.
Counselor Dr. McCabe,
Yes.
Counselor Johnson,
Yes.
Counselor Roadcloud.
No.
So yes from me, the motion carries. Also up for consideration is our cash balance report.
So moved, Madam President.
Second.
Having been moved and properly seconded on the question. Hearing none, we'll proceed with our roll call vote in the order counselors appear on my screen. Counselor Francis,
Yes.
Counselor Dr. McCabe,
Yes.
Counselor Johnson,
Yes.
Counselor Roadcloud.
No.
So yes from me, the motion carries. At this time, we will move on to our ordinance and zoning.
Good evening, everybody. Happy Father's Day. Our
Good evening,
code
Director
departments, our code department report for May. There was no zoning hearing applications. There was 3 zoning use applications. 2 were approved. 1 is still under review. We are still monitoring the hotspot areas throughout the borough, which is the Washington Woods and the Revere Crossing. We always have a problem on certain days. We have some action items that we are still monitoring also. The McDade Shopping Center, the Parkview Court Apartments, with the trash issue. The McAmee Senior Complex plans were being reviewed last month. They are actually finished. A list of the sidewalks, we're still compiling all those. We still have grass and trash issues throughout the borough. The inspectors are writing violations and citations. 11 abandoned vehicles were removed last month. Closed items, Parkview Court and Grace Court inspections, rental inspections were completed. The major sewer issue at Parkview Court was handled by the property complex and through our person who does, I forgot his name. I'm sorry, Garjul. The swimming pools were inspected and approved by our health inspector. The upcoming items, we are still doing the other apartment complexes. They have been scheduled for the next few weeks and the next month. Again, the McAmee Senior Housing plans are reviewed and approved. 735 Church Lane, the business submitted their plans and they were reviewed by our commercial inspector. For our property maintenance, we received $5,602.92. For our code revenue, we received $27,584. And you do have the code workload for the month. That submits my report in reference to my code issues that were reported.
All right, thank you, Director Stowe.
There is, you going to take care of this?
Oh, the 2 motions?
Yes, or am
Yes.
I? Okay.
I was going to do it in, since Counselor Johnson is participating via phone. I see that you have consideration of removing the shade trees located at 819 and 834 Pleasant Road, 917 Longacre Boulevard, 1034 Bullock Avenue, 1002 West Cobbs Creek Parkway, 1119 Allen Drive, 662, 664, 665 Cypress Street, 622 Rose Street, 106 and 114 Norma Road. Is there a motion?
So moved,
So
Madam
moved.
President. Second.
All right, having been moved and properly seconded on the question.
I have a question.
Yeah, she can go ahead. I'll go second.
Councilor Rowe-Cloud.
So it looks like there's a tree missing. There's a tree located on Darnell Street that's been there for years that was on a list for years. It is actually in very bad disrepair. It has lifted the whole concrete up at least 6 inches and is dark. So I was just wondering why that was not on the list.
Jeff, can you let us know in reference to that tree? Mr. Wilkins from the Public Works actually tagged the trees and picked which ones that needed to be taken down immediately. Jeff, did you hear that?
Yeah, so I think that might be, you said Darnell?
Yes, I believe it's right on the corner of Darnell and Arbor. He actually had 2 trees there. One was already removed, and the second tree was left there.
834. Are you talking about the corner?
I'm sorry, Jeff.
I'm pretty sure it's 834 Pleasant you're referring to. There's 2 trees back to back, 2 maples.
No. Darnell. It's Darnell.
I mean, it's not on the list.
I know there's 2 trees that are actually next to the property owner at 834 Pleasant, which is the last house on Pleasant. And he does have the sidewalk on Darnell.
That may be it.
Yeah, the
so
owner did remove one itself,
Yeah.
I think.
So that's tag number, hold on, I just had it. That's tag number 105 and 103. It's 2 maples back to back. I sent a packet with all the pictures. So I don't know if you guys received it or not, but I can resend it.
Yes, I did receive it. So, all right.
What numbers were that again?
I think I said 10. No, that's 819. Hold on.
103 and 105.
So we're going to proceed with the vote, and you guys can figure out which trees they are offline.
Tag 104 and tag 105.
Okay, there we go. All right, so we will move to our roll call vote based on the order that councilors appear on my screen. That would be Councilor Francis.
Yes.
Councilor Dr. McCabe.
Yes.
Councilor Johnson.
Yes.
Councilor Rowe-Cloud.
Yes.
So yes from me, the vote is unanimous, the motion carries. Also is the consideration for approving the homeowners of the 2021 shade tree removals to reimburse the borough for the cost of such removal. So this is just pursuant to our ordinance.
That's correct.
All right, is there a motion?
So moved, Madam President.
Second.
Having been moved and properly seconded on the question.
What is that motion again? Can you repeat the motion?
The motion is consideration of approving the homeowners of the 2020 shade tree removals list to reimburse the borough for cost of the removal pursuant to our ordinance. All right, we will proceed with the roll call vote in the order councilors appear on our screen, on my screen. Councilor Francis.
Yes.
Councilor Dr. McCabe.
Yes.
Councilor Johnson.
Yes.
Councilor Rowe-Cloud.
No.
So yes from me, the motion carries. Next, we have a Public Works report. I'm sorry, is Director Stokes, is that in your report?
Yes, that does in my report.
All right, thank you. Mr. Director Wilkinson for Public Works.
Evening, everyone. Quick announcements. We're on our summer hours right now. They're 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday to Friday. Upcoming months in June, we have an e-waste event Friday, June 25th, 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Public Works Yard. We also had a yard waste drop off Friday, June 11th from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Events in July, twice a week trash pickup will begin July 1st and run until August 31st. Please refer to the borough website for more information. There will be no trash pickup July 5th as we observe the 4th of July that day. So the Thursday and Monday route will only be picked up once that week. E-waste in July, that event is Friday, July 30th from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. The yard waste event is Friday, July 9th, 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Abatements, we cut 728 Yeadon Avenue, 617 Cypress, 817 Raider, 1109 Duncan, 433 Holly. We did some work over at Washington Woods, 901 Longacre Boulevard and 917 Longacre Boulevard. In the borough facilities, we had a pipe leak in the kitchen area. The isolation valves in the second floor kitchen were replaced by Raid Plumbing, and the ice machine was also had some defects to it. We got that fixed as well. Sweepers out and about, we've picked up 73.11 tons of street dirt so far this year. A little update on the new sewer truck. It's set to arrive by the end of September. I spoke with the sales rep from H.A. DeHart. He stated that we have saved over $25,000 and counting due to the steel surcharges by ordering the vehicle when we did. So thanks to you guys. And that concludes my report.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Director
Joe.
Wilkinson. All right, Councilor Johnson, do you have anything to add?
No, I don't. Thank you, Director Wilkerson.
All right.
Thank
I'd like for the management to note that Dr. Robinson has comments in the chat section that has questions regarding the library board. If someone could grab her email off of there and address those questions. Maybe by tomorrow we're closed for Juneteenth, but by Monday that would be great. I will move on to public safety. Mayor Hepkin.
Excuse me, Madam President.
Dr. McCabe.
Yes, I just wanted to ask about the disposal of tires. I may have asked this before, but I don't remember the answer.
Mr.
Yeah,
Wilkinson?
so with the disposal of tires, it costs the borough money. I don't know the dollar figure off the top of my head. I have it written down in my office. However, you can take it to try going to like a local tire shop, or I know Robin Ford recycles them for a couple dollar fee per tire.
Robin who?
Robin Ford on McDade Boulevard.
Okay, that's not the one down across from the Dunkin' Donuts.
It's in Glen Olden.
So, Director Wilkinson, can you please forward the address to Councilor Dr. McCabe?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll do it when I get back in the office Monday.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
All right, so public safety.
All right, thank you, Madam President. Public Safety Committee met on Saturday, May 29th. Next meeting will be held again via Zoom on Saturday, June 26th. No action items, but I will ask if the chief has anything he wants to add. I don't know if he wants to comment on that case that was solved yesterday, but I'll give him this opportunity.
Thanks, Mayor. The case that made the news yesterday, we've been working on since February of this year. It involved 4 individuals at this point. We expect the number of arrests to grow. We recovered 59 checks during the arrest that had the victims were not even aware that the checks had been stolen yet. We also did a search warrant on one of the suspects' houses today and recovered a clothes basket filled with mail and checks that we have to go through. And we, at this point, I can only estimate how many additional victims are in that large laundry basket that we recovered, in addition to some high-end clothing that they had been flaunting on their Instagram and social media pages from what they bought with the proceeds. It was an outstanding job by all the detectives and officers involved in it. We spent hours and hours and hours looking at video in an effort to come up with vehicles going near mailboxes of all things. And we finally came up with a vehicle pulling up to the mailbox at Church and Whitby at 5:30 in the morning. And a gentleman came out and opening the mailbox with a key. We recovered so far 3 mailbox keys, one specifically for Yeadon, one for Southwest Philadelphia, and one for an undisclosed location at this point. But we believe there are other keys out there because this was affecting Chester, Philadelphia, Montgomery, and Delaware counties. Right now, the district attorney is working with us, but it also appears that the U.S. Attorney's Office may take over the case as a result of the extensive nature. We have 22 victims in Yeadon with a value of over $125,000, but we figure it's going to be way, way more than that. During the press conference, it was actually kind of to show you how wide-ranging this was. The district attorney actually recognized one of the pieces of mail as one of his friends that he had done, knew that he was already a victim. So it was a really, really outstanding bunch of police work. There were numerous police departments that were getting hit with the same thing. I don't know what they were doing, but I like thinking outside of the box and doing things and making our community safe and making it clear that it's not a safe place to come to commit crime if you're a criminal. So like I said, it was an outstanding job. A couple other things I'd like to add. I ask council to accept my report as submitted, but I'd like to also add that we are currently applying for a grant through the Pennsylvania Chiefs of Police Association. We just completed the paperwork for that. I'm looking to get a $75,000 grant from the state to begin the accreditation process for the police department. If we get the cost for accreditation can run somewhere between $35,000 and $50,000 a year. So prior to me being able to actually start it, I want to secure the funding and I want to try and get it through grants. So we applied for a grant for $75,000 and I'm hoping to be able to get that so we can accredit the police department and make us better than what we are. I'm also working with the borough management to apply for a cops hiring grant through the federal government to where, and don't quote me on this, but basically what happens is the federal government provides you monies for the support of hiring police officers and pays their base salaries for a period of time, and then by eventually the borough is able to catch up to be able to continue the salaries. But that's all I have for my report, unless anybody has any questions.
No, great job, Chief, you and your staff.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chief. Don't become a celebrity and forget about us.
Nah, never. I love this town. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for taking care of the folks in the chat. I will let you know that the solicitor did tell us that we'll have a special meeting soon. So if there are any changes with that block party permit within the next 10 days, then we may be able to bring it to our special meeting.
I will do that.
All right, Mayor.
No, nothing else to add. Just great work. I'm very proud of your staff. It involved a lot of, it's not just Yeadon, it involved a lot of other boroughs, but we're the one that cracked the case. So great work, Chief. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, anything from our fire department or emergency management?
Fire department's not here. Chief Diano, Rufus Stokes, do you have anything to add for emergency management?
No changes from the last report. All the departments are working together as normal.
All right.
Thank you. Dr. McCabe, do you have anything to add?
No, I don't.
Okay,
thank you for asking the question about tires, Dr. McCabe. Jeff, I know that I had a question for you as well. If we could, it could be a matter of public safety if people start disposing of things inappropriately. So can we maybe have a highlights, or maybe we already have it and I just missed it too, of how to dispose of gas, how to dispose of tires, that we can reference on our website, like a quick one pager, like your no wipes in the pipes. That was cute. We could do
Madam
something
President?
similar.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Madam President?
Director Stokes. Yes, Director Stokes.
I know there is a new company that started, I think, last year at 54th and Elmwood that actually takes the tires and cut them up and uses them as the chips that they put down on playgrounds. I will get the information and I will get it to Jeff so he can put it on the county, on our website.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Mayor, does that end your report?
Yeah, that ends my report, President. Thank you.
All right, we will move
I actually
on.
have a question, one question for the solicitor, if he's still here.
I am here.
Oh, there you go. All right. My question, why would we need a motion for an ordinance that's already on the books? You're on mute.
You're muted.
There's been significant discussion in past years about whether or not someone needs to pay. So the borough manager and I had our pre-council meeting, and she wanted to reaffirm what the process is by a vote of this council.
Oh, so the vote was to reaffirm the ordinance.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
All right, Councilor Francis, our recreation report, please.
Yes, good evening, Madam President. Good evening, everyone. I'm happy to say that we had our virtual Flag Day celebration on the website Monday, June 14th. Our committee would like to thank the mayor, the president, the management team, Jennifer Huff, and her staff for a fantastic job for the virtual Flag Day celebration. The program will remain on the website for a while for all residents to enjoy. And as the mayor and the president have stated, we look forward to having a live and a fantastic celebration in 2022. And I think it was a question about the funding. Right now, we are currently looking at and reviewing what the new mandates are as far as the pandemic and for our future programs for the rest of the year. I guess the question was, were we going to spend all the money on this grant? No, we're still looking at other programs we can possibly fit in for this year. So ends my report, and happy Father's Day for those.
Thank you very much.
Madam President,
Dr. McCabe.
I'd like to make a suggestion to Recreation.
Yes, ma'am.
Now that Juneteenth is a national holiday, I know it makes it difficult because both things are in June, but it would be wonderful if we were proactive on doing something that had to do with Juneteenth as a borough.
Well, I will give you a call. Again, we look at the safety issues. I'll give you a call possibly tomorrow or Monday. We can discuss it. How about that?
Thank you.
All right.
All right. Thank you, everyone. That we have reached the conclusion of our meeting. If we could entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Madam President.
Is there a second?
Second.
Nobody wants to go.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a